Welcome to Live the Faith. Today, I want to talk to you about Resurrection Day. Many will be celebrating Easter soon. Chocolate bunnies and a basket full of goodies are going to cause delight in many children as they wake up Easter morning and see them. The fun tradition we know as Easter has long since taken away from the actual reality and true meaning of what really happened that day. What I want to discuss today is the seriousness of the crucifixion. Do you really know what it meant to be crucified back then? The agony and the suffering of this type of punishment can be understood when hearing a physician giving the medical aspects of what actually happens to a body during the crucifixion. As I describe what happens, remember, this is what happened to Jesus after he was relentlessly tortured and beaten, and he had to drag a heavy cross on his already wounded body. What I'm going to describe is an excerpt taken from cbn.com. This is called A Physician's View of the Crucifixion of Jesus Christ. I will share the link in the description below. And while you're listening, please remember, this is what Jesus did for you so you can have an eternity in heaven with him. The legionnaire, he drives a heavy, square, wrought iron nail through the wrist deep into the wood. Quickly, he moves to the other side and repeats the same action, being careful not to pull the arms too tight, but allowing a little flexion and movement. The patibulum, which is the crossbar for the crucifixion, is then lifted into place. And the titulus, reading King of the Jews, is then nailed into place as well. The left foot is now placed backward against the right foot. And with both feet extended, toes down, a nail is driven through the arch of each, leaving the knees moderately flexed. The victim is now crucified or put to death on a cross. As he slowly sags down with more weight on the nails in the wrists, an excruciating pain shoots through the fingers and up the arms and explodes into the brain. The nails in the wrists are putting pressure on the median nerves. As he pulls himself up to avoid the stretching torment, he places full weight on the nails in his feet. Again, there is a searing agony of the nail tearing through the nerves between the metatarsal bones of the feet. At this point, as the arms fatigue, great waves of cramps sweep over the muscles, knotting them in deep, relentless, throbbing pain. With these cramps comes the inability to move himself upward. Hanging by his arms, the pectoral muscles are paralyzed, and the intercostal muscles are unable to act. Air can be drawn into the lungs, but not exhaled. Jesus fights to raise himself to get even one short breath. Finally, carbon monoxide builds up in the lungs and into the bloodstream, and the cramps partially subside. Spasmodically, he is able to push himself up and exhale and then bring in the life-giving oxygen. Jesus spent hours of limitless pain, cycles of twisting, joint-rending cramps, intermittent partial asphyxiation, searing pain where the tissue is torn from his lacerated back when he moves up and down against that wood. Then another agony begins. A terrible crushing pain deep in the chest as the pericardium slowly fills with serum and begins to compress the heart. One remembers again the 22nd Psalm, the 14th verse, I am poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax. It is melted in the midst of my bowels. It's almost over now. The loss of fluids and tissue has reached a critical level. The compressed heart is struggling to pump heavy, thick, sluggish blood into the tissue. The tortured lungs are making a frantic effort to gasp in small gulps of air. The markedly dehydrated tissues send their flood of stimuli to the brain. Jesus gasps his fifth cry, "I thirst." One remembers another prophetic verse from the 22nd Psalm. "My strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue cleaveth to my jaws. And thou hast brought me in to the dust of death." A sponge soaked in Pascha, the cheap sour wine, which is the staple drink of the Roman legionaries, is lifted to his lips. He apparently doesn't take any of the liquid. The body of Jesus is now in extremes, and he can feel the chill of death creeping through his tissues. This realization brings out his sixth words, possibly little more than a tortured whisper. It is finished. His mission of atonement has completed. Finally, he can allow his body to die. This article sounds so grim, but it is the sacrifice that Jesus made for your, my, and everyone else's salvation. I pray you have a blessed Resurrection Day, knowing that Christ did what he did for your eternity. If this video has blessed you, please comment below and let us know. We do appreciate all of you, and we look forward to reading your comments. Thank you for joining us today. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you can be notified when more content is uploaded. And remember, be a blessing to someone.